Hey, what's happening? Tim with Nomad Trading. It's been a minute. I know I haven't been on here as much. I've been slacking off. I thought I'd jump on here. It's a little bit of a slower day, honestly, so far in the Momo momentum world, but I did think that that might be a good opportunity to kind of jump on and talk about my process. Everybody has their own process when they're looking for stocks to trade and whatnot. But I thought I would jump on because it is pre-market for almost another hour. So I'd kind of show what I do anyway and kind of what I look at. There's not a whole lot going on. CREX, probably the one that's at the top of everybody's scanners. So, hey, awesome. Already got a like. Thank you so much. Make sure you, before I forget, comment, like, subscribe, all those wonderful YouTube algorithm things. And chat it up with me over here in the chat. If you see something moving that I don't see, let me know. We can check it out. If I see any trades developing, I will take trades live. However, so far today, been pretty boring. Not a whole lot going on. I've made like $105. I'll click over there here in a second. Just gonna say what's up in the chat. Okay, so what I'm doing, let's see. Give me a second here. It takes a second for me to figure out what I got more than one screen here, so let me see what I've done so far. So yeah, up $107 on a short on SPCE. So I will pull that up just to show what I've done so far today. Where is my screen? Bear with me here. Got too much going on. Got to minimize all this stuff. One second. Okay. So yeah, that was just on this tiny little move right here. This is my other platform, CMEG. I usually have CMEG open on one screen and E-Trade open on the other, a couple different accounts. This CMEG is where I primarily short at. So all I did was just take 250 shares in this tiny little move. The little red arrow here is where I went short on this pop-up. I missed the big move, unfortunately, and there's a really nice move to the downside there when it failed to break VWAP or curl up. It was looking bearish, but I didn't see that, so all I could do was I waited for the pop, went short, and then just covered it. These two little blue triangles down here are where I covered. So that's how I made the $100 this morning, just 250 shares, nothing spectacular, tiny piece of the move. And then it looked like it was bottoming. Then you can see this big candle here. This was when it hit 7 o'clock Central Time, where I live here in the Midwest. So that's what that giant candle is right there. That's when all the volume came in. So you get all the buys from overnight or over the weekend in this case, rammed through at once. And yeah, I didn't want to be holding through that either, because a lot of times you'll get that move right there. So anyway, that's what I've done so far today. That, and I did try a move on ANVS. I believe it is. Is that the name of the? Let me click over here. Got some people in the chat. What's up, guys? Moxie looking for a bounce back up in short. Okay, I'll check that out. JDST's been popping up quite a bit on my tracker. I'll check that out. Okay, let's see. What was is it? I wanted to find the other one, the one that probably to me looked the best so far. The one that was moving a lot anyway. ANVS, I think it was. So CREX, first of all, what I do, just to show you what I do, I'm watching a scanner all the time, so this would be my scanner. This would be pre-market biggest gainers. So as you can see, these are the ones that everybody would primarily be looking at as far as like day traders and momentum traders. They're going to kind of be watching the biggest gainers of the morning pre-market. So then what I do is go down that list and kind of look at those different charts to see what's going on with that stock. So let me jump over there. ANVS. So CREX, I'm getting ahead of myself, I know. CREX, this is the one that's on the top of most people's scanners, or IAE, or what is it? IAU? Oh yeah, IAU. So on this one, if I looked at this, it is starting to curl now, but when I was looking at it, all it was gapping up and then fading down. So that's not something I'm too excited about as far as a momentum stock to trade. And the range is not that great, from 174 to 186, that move there. You'd have to take a lot of shares for that to be, considered a decent sized move. And if you look at the daily chart down here, the range is a little bit bigger, but it's red on the day as of right now, kind of just a doji. So nothing too exciting about that from a day trader standpoint. ANVS, a little more exciting because of the range. So if you look here from 55 up here to almost 68, so you got a decent amount of range there. Because of that, I did try a breakout, and what you're looking at here is 5-minute chart. I've got 3 different charts that I usually am watching. This is the daily chart down here, 5-minute chart here, and the 1-minute chart here. So this is a 5-minute chart, and then this is the previous day, this huge day where we went from way down here in the 20s to almost $100. So absolute monster move. That's why I was watching it this morning. To see what would happen, and I was watching this level right here. It did curl up. You could have taken a position right here as it curled up past that pre-market previous high. I did not, because of these highs of these candles right here. So I didn't want to take a position and then have it immediately get stuffed by these highs of these wicks over here. I waited till it got past that. So I took a small position, just 10 shares, because of how much it can move. And I just don't, I'm not really very excited about anything this morning. So I'm not trying to take big share size in anything and end up with losses on a day when there's just nothing really too exciting. But I did take 10 shares past that high. It ended up getting stuffed out, so I stopped out for a break even. Actually, I think I made like $5, but that's, basically break even. So since then, nothing too exciting going on that, but that's the one that I would say at this point that I'm going to watch the most closely, just because the upward movement right here showed me that it does have some potential possibly to get moving like it did the previous day. So watching that into open, I would not hold it into open. I don't hold hardly anything into open because it's the most volatile time of the market. So, it could very quickly drop $10 or shoot up $10, whatever. So I'm not going to be holding through that, but I will watch it because above this high, maybe it starts squeezing and gets a nice big move like it did the previous day. Now, that's my stuff so far. So, yes, Joe P says ANVS was insane. It sure was. I like it the most today, like I said, because it's got the most, it seems like it's got some volume and it's got a decent amount of range on it. So that's what I've seen with like the problem with CREX, not a whole lot of range. What else do we got? I wanted to look at JDST. Somebody mentioned JDST. Yeah, selling off today, unfortunately. I do have, by the way, I'm looking at the previous day and today. I know I mentioned that, but just to make it clear that there's a line right here, and that's where today starts on E-Trades. The 6 o'clock when you can actually start trading with E-Trade would be 6 a.m. Central Time. So that's where the day starts. Before that, this is the previous day. But I like to have that on there as a reference point, because if I just look at it for today, like I have over here in the 1 minute, it's kind of all over the place. So when it gets progressed throughout the day, sometimes I'll just zoom into the day, but I like to have it on one day up here. So I'm kind of seeing the previous day and the current day. To me, it gives a better perspective. It's also why you got the daily chart and why you got the 1 minute. Looking at different charts give you different perspectives. But anyway, so seeing the previous day, a lot of times you can see where there might be support, resistance, etc. So on this, I would say, switching over the crosshairs, so it looks like we're making new lows as far as the past year. Not something, it kind of depends on your strategy. I mean, some people are longer term traders and you're looking to buy at, times like this. You want to buy at the lows. If you're going to be something that you have a lot of faith in to hold for a long time, then it makes sense to buy at the lows. For what I do, scalping and day trading, it's not something that gets me excited. I'm looking for more stocks that are breaking out more than I am at their lows. If we zoom out, let's see, that's too far. Too far again. You're just seeing a giant fade. I was just kind of trying to see, where the stock was maybe a year or two ago. But if we look at this on the 200-day, just really choppy. So it's kind of a range type of stock. So if I was going to trade this, you could trade it like a swing trader, where when it gets down in this $9 range, right now it's making new lows. I'm not, like I said, I'm not excited about that unless I was, knew something about the company and was looking for a long-term hold. Then it makes sense. Otherwise, the only thing that would stand out to me would be trading it as a range trader, like a swing trader, where you're buying it when it gets down here in the 9s and then selling it when it gets up here, or shorting it when it gets up here in the mid 12s or 13s, because it tends to pop up in that area and come back down, pop up, come back down. So it might be a decent stock as far as trading it within that range, swing trading it. That's just something that stands out to me. But as far as day trading it as a momentum stock, not excited about that, because we're making new lows way down here. So you don't know where the bottom could be. It could end up going to 7 or 6 or 5, or who knows. It could end up bouncing here also. But I'm going to be looking at the resistance area around 8. Let's see, maybe 822-ish, wherever this bottom is. That's where you're going to be looking for the first amount of resistance. If it can make it back up there, then we'll see. So hopefully that helps you if you're in that. MOXC. Let's see. Look at that. That's a nice. Now that's a little more exciting, because we have this crazy move. So this is the daily chart down here. Looking at 200 days. This is 1 year. So if we look at 1 year ago, this stock was under $1. That's crazy. Imagine if you're holding that stock at under $1, and it goes up to 13, 14, 15. Let's see what the high was, 16.70, so almost $17 from under $1. That is crazy, and that's why I love stock trading, ladies and gentlemen, is moves like that. So MOXC, imagine if you put just, I don't know, say you saw this stock down here under $1 and thought you were just going to hold it for a year, and you put a couple $1,000 in it. You could put $2,000 in it. Let's see what it was trading down in here. 72 cents, 88 cents. Let's just call it 88 cents. That looked like you had plenty of opportunity to buy in that area. So you're holding 2,200 shares, and then you're looking at it a year later, and it's up here in the 1374 range. So all of a sudden your $2,000 investment has turned into $31,000. that's why I love stock trading. The potential to make money is just so crazy. And of course, it's extremely difficult and it takes a long time to learn. And the odds of you actually buying it down there and holding it all the way to the top, of course, are very slim. So I'm not saying that's typical, but it's just the possibility of it that to me is exciting. Just like that ANVS, the going from $20 or whatever it was to $100, the possibility with that is just exciting. Are you going to nail it? No, but it's still exciting. If it was me, I'd be getting pretty excited when it was up here and started to make this move back down, get rejected, and I'd be selling it there in the 6 range if I had bought it back there, because at that point I'd be like, hey, I'm getting $6 a share for something I bought it less than $1 a share. But if somehow you had the cojones to hold it all the way up here, that would be crazy. And you'd be the man or woman. Let's see what else. SBBP was another one that was jumping up. Oh, just to finish my thought on that too. This is a very good looking stock on the daily chart, but it's also getting pretty overextended. So if you look at this down here, this is the RSI, this blue area down here. I keep that on there on the daily chart just as a kind of a reference point to not chase stocks. When you get up in this range like this one is, you're running the risk of chasing that. So would I buy it up here? I don't know. It would have to be a decent pullback. I would prefer it be pulling back to some kind of support. Maybe it is. I mean, we did have this consolidation area here, so if you bought that dip right in there, that might have been a good entry point and see what happens. But when you get a stock that's that extended, kind of like you saw right here, this was a big extended move, and then it gives back a lot of that gain. So you don't want to be caught on the backside of that and have it coming down to $9 or so. Which would be a healthy pullback, but then it has a long way to go to climb back up there. So be careful buying up in that range after that many green days in a row and climb it as high as this thing has. That's my thoughts on that. SBBP was another one on the. We're seeing a lot of the same charts, by the way, today, and you'll see that a lot in the momentum stock world. Stocks kind of tend to do. They kind of follow each other, follow the market a lot of the time. But you'll see momentum stocks one after the next kind of with the same chart. So the whole gap way up, fade back down, this thing that we're seeing here, this is happening a lot today, which is part of why I think we're not seeing a lot of really strong momentum stocks at the moment. When you start seeing this pattern right here, you'll see one stock after the next following that pattern, and it ends up a lot of the time being a boring day in the momentum stock world. Much rather see them, gapping up and then kind of running and following that pattern together. Let's see. Appreciate you bet. Work. No work. Yeah, but work. Oh, I gotcha. A lot of times work gets in the way. Happens. Got to pay those bills. SOS on the move. Okay, cool. I'll check that out. There's a lot of crypto related stocks that are on the move today. Thanks for the like, whoever liked. I appreciate that. A lot of crypto related stocks on the move. They're just beaten down. So just to finish my thought on that. So again, we've got the doji on the daily. We've got just a gap up and fade down. Nothing looking strong, so it's not exciting. So yeah, nothing really to see there. What was the one that you mentioned? SOS. A lot of these crypto type Bitcoin mining stocks are just so beaten down. SOS being probably more so than several of the other ones, but up 1.5% as of now. Looks like it kind of popped up a bit for a minute, and now it's trying to come back down. So not ideal, especially if you're holding that. you're trying to get out of this giant downtrend that we're seeing here on the daily chart. I've traded this a few times in this area down here, but now it's just kind of fading into oblivion. It needs some kind of news or something to give it some life, get it popping up. It's got to make it back, back above this $4.55 range to really start looking exciting, like it might curl. I know Riot was another one that was kind of moving today. This is a thing with E-Trade. A lot of times when you see this with E-Trade, as soon as you check, click over from one stock to another, you'll see this big candle up or down that's not real. And then until some trades go through on the over here, some prints go through, and then it updates. I don't know why that is. Just a stupid E-Trade glitchy thing. But this one looking a little bit better. Again, beaten down pretty good. But over the last 100 days, 90 days, whatever, had its moonshot and then kind of fading back down like the other one. You'll see the same sectors following kind of the same patterns. But anyway, showing a little bit of sign of life as it curls up today. Crypto, last I looked anyway, Bitcoin was kind of bouncing a bit back in the upper 30s, which is a good thing. Probably half the people that are listening to this or talking to me or watching this at this point are probably like me and have some money in crypto too. So good to see Bitcoin bouncing back a bit last I checked. Mara was another one. See, we got the exact same pattern. If you look at Mara and Riot, both are Bitcoin mining stocks, both have almost the same damn chart. It's just how it goes, So we'll see. Maybe they can keep curling and break out, past that. Keep heading up. Let's zoom out just a hair. So yeah, we got quite a bit to go. If you were to draw somewhat of a trend line there, you'd be seeing that it's kind of getting to that place right now. So it's got some work to do if it's going to actually go anywhere today. But hopefully. I'd like to see more stocks moving, and some of these were some really good movers at one point in time when the day trading momentum world was really on fire there. It was pretty exciting. I miss those days. Hopefully we can get back there. Let's see what we got here. Jumping back over to the old scanner. I'll pull it over here so y'all can see. This is a scanner. I made a video on it. You can check it out if you go to my videos and or type in Nomad Trading Scanner. You can find my video about the scanner. I mean to make another video or two about it more in depth, but I have not done it yet. But anyway, it's kind of the scanner that I've been using because it's a free scanner that works pretty good. So you got your biggest gainers here for, I don't think that I've changed any of the settings of this. I think this is right out of the box, this Chart Watcher scanner for free. I believe this, and it is in the description of this video, should be a link to the free scanner. But anyway, and you can pay more money if you want a different version of it, but honestly, I just go with the free because, it's pretty good. I think, anyway, as far as a free scanner goes, I don't know of any other free scanner that's as good as this. That's like a live, actual scanner that you can use for free. Trade Ideas is a great scanner. There's lots of good scanners, but they cost a decent amount of money. This one's free, so check it out. But anyway, you got your gainers here, and then if you click on it, like say CREX, click on that, you got your chart here, and you can toggle this up here with your 5 minute. You can toggle it to 1 minute or whatever time frame you want to use. Pretty cool. And then when you click on it, right here, you'll see the information about it. So it pops up CREX, and then you can see the float right here. Is whenever I put my mouse on it, you can't see it, but yeah, the float 11.85 million shares. So the float's relatively small, so maybe we could get it to really fly. That'd be cool if it got enough volume in there and stuff. With that being a under 12 million float, you know, that's a pretty small float for that stock. So for a stock that's under $2, so you never know. Maybe we can see it fly. Up 43%, so already doing good. But anyway, I like this scanner. You can kind of move it around, change a bunch of stuff, put it how you want it. I've got it with the daily down here, and then the 5-minute up there. I don't know if it came like that out of the box because I honestly can't remember. So if you click on it and end up using that scanner, let me know if it's like this out of the box or if I changed some stuff, because I honestly can't remember what I changed when I first got it. But anyway, let's see. IAU we already looked at. SBBP we've looked at. APM, I have not looked at that, so maybe we'll jump over and check that out. Type it in. What do we got? Let's see. So daily chart, we got lots of resistance. See, that's the problem today. There's just nothing really exciting because they've all got issues with their charts. Stuff's just not the way that you want to see it. So YouTube's giving me some damn error thing. So let me know if you can't see me or there's some kind of an error going on, and I'll try to fix it. Maybe it's because I've got 2 different trading platforms going. I've got a scanner going at the same time. I'm streaming live on YouTube, so I've got lots of stuff going on my computer. It might be bogging it down. APM anyway. So when you see a chart like this, pretty sporadic, pretty light volume. It's only traded less than 1 million shares. So right away, not something I'm interested in because I pretty much only trade stocks that have traded over 1 million shares. Almost never would I trade something that's got less than that in volume, even pre-market. So yeah, it is popping up and it could squeeze. It needs to get back over this previous high of 287 or so to get interesting. Let's see, was that what it was? The high 284? So yeah, it's got to get over that previous high, and that's where we're seeing a little bit of resistance on the daily chart. If you're brand new to trading and you're watching this, there is a little bit of method to the madness because as you can see, this day topped out so far at an area where you see lots of tops. So previous resistance, and then it's also where there was a bottom right here that was acting as support. Support becomes resistance. So there's a little bit of method to the madness, and the reason that stopped out right there because of all that. So once we get past that, maybe it can open up over the 3s. But like I said, right now we got way too low of volume for that to be exciting either. Oh, JZXN was a recent IPO. JZXN. Thanks to those of you that are watching this and have hit the like button. Awesome. Like I said, let me know if we're getting issues, if you're not able to see me or there's some kind of a buffering or an error or it's slow or whatever, because I'm getting a YouTube error. Maybe I can change the settings somehow. I don't know what the deal is. YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. Yeah, you are. I am streaming live. Don't know what you're talking about, but okay. Anyway, whatever. JZXN, again, on the 1 minute, looking pretty sporadic, so not ideal volume, less than 1 million shares traded, and now it's fallen down under $9. So this is a recent IPO, that's why the daily chart looks like this. The thing IPO'd it. I don't know what the price was initially, but it was very low, and by the time it opened all the way up at almost $50. And then has done nothing but come. Imagine if you're the poor guy that bought this up here at 40-some dollars, and now it's under $9. I feel for you. If that's you, I feel for you. That's a terrible spot to be in. Hopefully you get a bounce out of this thing, but it's not looking good at this point. Let's see what else we got. Again, I don't know what the deal is with this thing. YouTube's still giving me this error message. I don't understand. Just let me stream. What is the deal? Anyway. Okay, we got LAZR popped up on here now. Hey, that one could get interesting, maybe. It's at least kind of curled up and gotten past the previous resistance right there. Not a lot of range on it, though. We're looking at maybe a couple dollars of range on a $23 stock before it hits resistance. So not loving that either, but at least on the 5 minute and the 1 minute chart for today, not looking terrible. Kind of looking like a little bit of a bull flag or a bull pennant scenario if it can keep from breaking below this support at 23.43. It's pushing 1 million shares on volume, so we'll see. Don't know what the deal is, though. I'm not seeing any news down here. So just wanted to kind of keep an eye on. Oh, what else? See, like I said, pretty boring day. OBLN was one. What the heck? E-Trade. And again, same scenario. Not very exciting on the 5 or the 1 minute or the daily chart at this point. AMC. Hey, AMC perking up. Kind of a good thing. If it can hold this level right here. See how, again, like I said, there's a little bit of method to the madness. So you've got a peak right here. Around $14.50-ish. $15, and then it kind of comes down, and then as you can see we top out again in that same area. Now then it's curled down, it's pulled back, and it's starting to touch the previous highs here, which, as we know, previous resistance can become support and vice versa. So hopefully it will stay there and curl up if you're an AMC fan, and then take another shot at that $15 level. Maybe it breaks that, and then we could see a nice big move back up into the 20s. So that's one to watch over the coming days. Is it going to happen today? I really doubt it, unless there's some kind of crazy news or something that gets it really moving. But it could. It's one of those meme stocks, so you never know. Only traded 1 million shares as of now, though. Pretty light volume, especially for AMC. MICT was another one on the list. Again, we got a downtrending daily chart. Not too exciting. It has somewhat got past that resistance, but so far just fading and not really going anywhere. Not doing much with it. And again, not a lot of range. You're talking about maybe not even $1 of range. Don't love that either. Have to get huge share size for that to make any kind of a difference. Yeah, let's jump back over to SPCE and see where we're at on that. This is the other one. I would say this one, as far as right now goes, I'm moving some things over here on my screen. DS for a long term. To answer you, Hector, I trade on CMEG and E-Trade as of now. Not sure. I've had some issues with E-Trade, but they've gotten back on track lately. E-Trade for a while there was terrible, absolutely terrible, and lost me hundreds of dollars with their terrible platform. And I went round and round with their customer service trying to get them to give me money back, because literally their platform is the only reason I lost money on several trades where their platform was glitching out. And I run CMEG side by side with this. So it wasn't my internet service. It wasn't any kind of issue other than their platform. And I'd get stuck in a stock, and by the time I could get out of it, it would go from a win to a loss on a quick scalp. Lost me hundreds of dollars, lots of issues, and they admitted to me that they were having platform issues, but of course they wouldn't give me my money back or take any kind of fault and reimburse me, even though I've had an account there for like 5 years. So for a while there, I was talking pretty bad about E-Trade and would not recommend them, but as of now, they've gotten back on track where the platform's not been glitching on me all the time. It's been working pretty good. So hopefully they fixed that issue. The only issue I have now with them is they got rid of their scanner, and that was an awesome tool that I loved. That's what kind of prompted me to find my free scanner that I talk about, Charts Watcher. But still a pain in the ass, because I would much rather have my scanner down here in the corner, and E-Trade's scanner was a great scanner. Very customizable. It was just fantastic. I loved it. Probably the best scanner I've ever seen, honestly. And it came with the platform and was down here in the corner, so you could link it with your screens and just click on a stock, and then it would link all your screens with it. It was just fantastic, but they got rid of that. I know me and many other traders gave them a lot of hell over that, but they did not care. Apparently they pretty much don't cater to traders. They cater more to investors, from what I gathered. But anyway, I know I'm rambling about E-Trade, but they're pretty good, decent broker. You got me started on the broker thing. They're getting a little bit better now. Their platform's not as glitchy. It's working a little better. So can't knock them as much now as I was. But CMEG is great if you're under the PDT and you're trying to get around the PDT, and it's decent for shorting. So they give you a lot of margin, and you don't have to deal with the PDT rule. So there's a lot of good things about CMEG, really great executions. The only problem is they charge quite a bit of money for the platform and for the commissions and stuff. If you want to know more about that, check out my video. I made a video about the commissions and fees specifically. This is E-Trade Pro. I don't know 100% if you can get it anymore, because I've heard mixed things, but I know that if you can get Pro, you can use Power E-Trade, but it doesn't work very good for day trading. If you're going to day trade and you can't get Pro, then don't use E-Trade. That's my advice. If you're going to scalp and actually use it for scalping style day trading, don't use it unless you can get Pro. And the only way to get Pro is to contact their customer service, and you have to meet their criteria, which is not very much. I think you have to have a balance of like maybe $1,500 or $2,000 minimum balance, and then you have to subscribe to their real-time data quotes or something like that. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically paying for level 2. But if you place the minimum trades, you get it for free. So like the platform, I've never paid for it. Even with my smaller account that's under PDT, I still never have paid for the platform. So you won't pay for it if you actually use it, but you got to get it, and you got to go through customer service to get it. And a few people have told me that they don't offer it anymore. They're trying to push everybody to Power E-Trade. If that day comes and they push me to Power E-Trade, like they got rid of the scanner, I will close my account there and move my money elsewhere, because I want to be able to scalp and day trade, and Power E-Trade is just not designed for that unless they make a lot of changes. It's designed more for swing trading or investing, but not for scalping and getting in and out. They don't have a full true level 2 like this. So yeah, it's just not made for scalping at this point unless they change it. But SPCE, looking at this, it's looking stronger. It's starting to curl, which is interesting. Maybe it ends up going back up. It could. If you look at it, if we zoom out a little bit, again, kind of like we saw on multiple other stocks I've looked at, gapping way up pre-market and then kind of fading back down. But this one's showing that maybe it wants to stay alive. Maybe it can keep moving up. It did have some positive news down here about completed their 3rd space flight, which is pretty big news, I would say. And then, yeah, after successful test flights. So yeah, they've had successful test flights. So it's no wonder that they're gapping up. Seems like pretty big news. I don't follow the stock very closely, but that seems like it would be good news. So yeah, maybe it'll stay strong. If there's a lot of people shorting it, which after you get this big move down like this, a lot of times you'll have shorts riding that waterfall down, and that's when you can see some big moves quickly to the upside as they start panicking and covering, kind of like the GameStop scenario. So maybe that happens. Maybe it keeps going. If it can go positive and get back past its pre-market high, this is where I would get interested in it. You know, if I'm watching it and it starts breaking that previous pre-market high there, then my ears are really perking up. This is again the one that I made the $100 shorting earlier because it was looking pretty bearish, but starting to curl. As of now, still not very bullish on it. It would be more of a short at this point to me than a long, but doesn't mean it can't curl up and make it happen. What was the one that somebody talked about? DS. Whoops, stupid. There we go. Drive Shack. Okay, so this thing's got several green days in a row, so that's interesting. Let me zoom out here. So yeah, we could be coming up near possible resistance. I'd be watching this $3 range. If we zoom out a year, we can see that. But not necessarily. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that will be resistance. Just a lot of times when you see a stock that's made this big move and then that was kind of a hard peak right there, and it has a history of having several big hard peaks and then giving a lot back. So definitely watch this area that it's coming up to right now, because we got it over here around 3. We got it right here around 3. So definitely an area to watch here. If it makes it past that and kind of past this peak, maybe we see it keep going to the 330s. And the only thing that makes me nervous about this, like I said, is that it has a history of popping up and fading back quite a bit, you know, giving back quite a bit of its gains. So watch out for that, because it wouldn't shock me for this to be hitting the $3 range and then pulling back down here back to the 250 area. So definitely watch the $3 range. As far as day trading it, like for me anyway, as like a scalp, there's just no volume, so I can't get in and out of it. So it's not something I could trade. But as far as long term, like you said, personally, I know nothing about the company, so I can't give you amazing advice about it because I don't know anything about it. I guarantee you know a lot more about it than I do. But from the chart anyway, definitely watching this $3 range, and then after that it gets a little more interesting to see if it can come up here and test these previous highs. Zoom out a little bit more. So yeah, it's been up in the $5 range 2 years ago. So yeah, it could continue to curl and make its way back up. I wouldn't get worried unless it got all the way down here back to, you know, below the 230 range and started. Then maybe you start getting a little bit worried. But up in this area, as far as a long-term hold, not looking too terrible. Has some potential. Let's see, JZXN, sure. Had a buddy who was in JZXN. My buddy was in JZXN nervous wreck because he, I want to say, had like 2,000 shares of it in the 9s. I think he bought right in here. Yeah, I think he bought right in here, and it went green on him. He was green on it, but then it hit this kind of area, same area it hit there, and then ended up, you know, it couldn't break that $10 area. Yeah, I think it was right around $10. It just couldn't break that. Ended up fading, and he was underwater by a few $1,000s at one point. All excited. I was talking to him this morning, all excited because it gapped up. So he was able to actually make money on it. It was down a couple thousand. Maybe he bought it, I don't know, maybe he bought it at $9. I'm not really sure exactly. But anyway, I know he was red on it by a couple grand and ended up making a decent amount of money on it and getting out of it before it started really fading, because pre-market before this, it was actually up here in like the 11s. But I couldn't trade it to E-Trade. Every broker has the different time that they allow you to trade, and E-Trade's is 6 a.m. my time, Central Time. But his broker, maybe Webull, I'm not sure, was like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. whenever the officially pre-market starts trading at 3 a.m. For a lot of stocks. But the brokers may not let you trade that. So I can see it trading at that, but I can't actually trade it. And yeah, it was up in the, he sold some of it up in the 10s and 11s and upper 9s, and then was out of it before he got down to his break even, I believe. So he was pretty excited about that. But anyway, as of now, it's looking like it's fading. Let me check the chart over here where I can actually see the whole move. Let's see here. Yeah, so this is over here on the CMEG chart. So as you can see, it popped all the way up to 1150. So yeah, he was able to wake up and sell, you know, his several thousand down or a couple thousand down from buying here, looking for a bounce. And he didn't have a bad idea. I was watching the same thing. If you zoom way out, you can see the stock was way up here in the 40s, came all the way down. So he was thinking bounce, and it sold off more than he expected, and it didn't end up bouncing anyway. So it did bounce this morning, but it was before I could have got it. I was lucky that I wasn't in it. But he and his broker, he was able to get out when it was way up here before it really faded back down. And I was telling him at that time, to me, looking at this overall chart, I was kind of seeing it down in this area and saying, you know, most likely to me, it's probably headed back to under 9 or under 9, just based on the chart that I was seeing. Because you kind of see that you got the overall move of it. You're hoping that it's going to curl up, but when it didn't and it faded back down, most likely you're looking for it to probably continue on down. How low does it go is anybody's guess. I believe this is the one. Let me get rid of this here. Talk about it on E-Trade. I like E-Trade's charts better, but my CMEG's set up to go all the way to when pre-market actually begins. So yeah, this is the chart down here is the daily chart. So the problem with this thing is, like I was telling him, you just have nothing to go by because it's a recent IPO. So you only have a few days of trading, and it's done nothing but drop off a cliff. It opens up here in the 40s and then goes, let's zoom out a little bit here. So it just plummets. I feel very bad for anybody that was getting in it up here in the 30s and 40s. If you're asking me about it, I'm hoping that doesn't mean that you got in it up there in that spot. Thanks for the likes, by the way. Got another like. I appreciate that. And the chat, guys. You guys are awesome. Hopefully you're not somebody that was in up here, because I feel really bad for those people. It didn't even give anybody much chance. You know, you're thinking it might bounce, and it doesn't bounce, and before you know it, you're down 10, 20, 30 bucks a share. That is a lot to be down in the stock. But that's the risk with the IPOs, because they're so unpredictable. There is no support. There is no resistance. There's nothing. It's just a blank slate and taking a stab at it. So to me, it did seem like it was going to bounce. I actually did try to buy it at some point. I don't remember where it was, maybe down here, thinking it would bounce, and it didn't. It went lower, so I cut the trade at break even, or maybe a small loss, got out of it. Ended up trying to bounce there, coming down, So now it probably is going to base in this area, so I would feel a little bit more. Look, we're hitting 9:30 market open. Didn't even realize. Man, time flies by so fast whenever you're streaming. So we're at market open. We're over $9. I would say it's going to base in this between $8 and $9, $10 range. Between 8 and 10 basically would be my guess. If you get another nice big pop, you might sell it because it might most likely come back down again. Hopefully you get a nice spike here. I don't know what your average is. Now we're going to watch right here as we get into this possible resistance here. Can it break through that and keep going? Yep, looks like it might. That's good. That's a good sign. Breaking pre-market highs is a good sign. So yeah, there we go. Might be pulling back on us. Not as good now. Come on now, anybody that's in this, I'm hoping for the best for you, that it can get back up there. So what we've seen so far is that pre-market high is kind of acting the pre-market high on most people's screens, not the pre-market high on, you know, if you can actually see all of pre-market. Hopefully it's going to take off. It's got a lot of work to do because of all of this consolidation right here. You got all these, all this volume in these consolidation areas. So it's got a lot of work to break through all of that before it can really truly curl. And that's kind of why I was thinking it would probably consolidate between the 8 and 10, because if you look at that, if it's going to make a curl, it probably still needs to keep bottoming before it really makes a curl up. But you never know. Stocks can be unpredictable. I do like that nice big green candle and the decent amount of volume. So I'm pushing 1 million shares. That's good. But so far, kind of getting rejected by that area. Every time it pops through, it ends up getting rejected back down. And that's a result of having a move like this where there's just so many sellers. There's going to be a lot of downward pressure because anybody that pretty much bought it at any point in time after the IPO is underwater. That means that every time there's a pop, there's going to be people selling into it, unfortunately. So you really got to get some kind of positive momentum going before you can see it really make a good move, get people shorts covering and get people believing that it can start curling more. The first step towards that would be breaking that pre-market high. So need to see that. Let's see what we got here. Let's switch over to main alerts on, let's see, SCPS is halted. So now what I do is I'll change from pre-market to the regular scanner. And we're just kind of watching to see what happens. What did SPCE do? Ooh, big drop. And we're looking at this area right here would be possible support. If you got a big enough washout all the way down there. See, it would have been a good bounce play. Let me zoom in just a little bit here. Is that where it bounced? No, didn't quite get down there yet. So the high of that would be 23.88. So that would have been a good bounce play at 23.88, but it didn't quite make it down there. A lot of times that's what I like to do too, is trade bounces. If I see a stock that's up a lot and ends up getting decent volume, and then it has a big washout and you know something that looks like an exaggerated move, which for this stock it's hard to say, but I would be, you don't want to be necessarily playing that bounce if it's a slow fade down to that. But if you get a big washout down there, a lot of times you can buy off that support, the support area there, that previous high, and get a bounce up for just a nice scalp. If we look at it over here on today's chart, it's a pretty decent washout, but it's not one candle or two candles. It's Yeah, this is probably going to go lower. I would guess that it might bounce a little bit and then go lower, but we'll see. Bum, 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 bum. What do we got going on? DMYD. That's doing nothing. What the heck? That's not even DMYD. It's not even a stock on here. At least not on my E-Trade. So I don't know what you're talking about, scanner. But hey, this one's halted. This one could be interesting because it's come down, made a bottom, started to pop up, and now we're getting a move past previous resistance. Looks like they announced FDA approval. Okay, so yeah, that's an interesting one there. We got some news, and we got pop up past previous resistance. So this thing could end up heading up here towards 750, just because it has the news, and it's starting to get. It's got no volume though. However, I just saw that almost no volume, only 22,000 shares. So. And a float is, let me see, float's 15 million shares. So it's got a low float, but it has no volume. I don't know if that halt, occurred. Let's see, is it a volatility? Yeah, it's a volatility halt. So typically 5 minutes. So yeah, should be resuming anytime now. What else we got? What else is moving? CLPS, somebody said. Ooh, yeah, there we go. That one's moving. Nice gap up. Curled up and then made a new high, so that's a good sign. Kind of was following that similar pattern we were seeing with other stocks, but now it's kind of breaking out. The problem will be the daily chart because we have all this consolidation which could act as resistance all right here, or a little bit over 5, or right in the $5 to $5.50 range. So that could be a problem. We'll see. I don't know what the news is. Let's see. CLPS will hold ownership stake in MSCT. So it does have news. That's a good thing. And we got a gap up, and we are green. So some good things about it. I don't like the resistance possibility right there. I'd much rather see it, in clear blue sky, but doesn't mean it can't do something. Let's see what my buddy ANVS is doing. That made a nice move. I thought that might happen, but really not going as high as I thought. I really thought if it could make new highs, it might really move up there, but we'll see. It did curl all the way back. See, I should have been watching it and paying more attention to it. However, I probably would have lost money on it because I'd have been buying the break past this pre-market high, and so far it's just got stuffed past that. That's why you never can be too sure with trading. All you can do is ride the probabilities and do your best you can to see the patterns, and you're not always going to be right, and the stock's not always going to follow through. Because this is a perfect example. It breaks the pre-market high, but so far it hasn't really been able to. If we look right here, it broke that high right there, but then since then it's had 2 big candle wicks on the top where it's got stuffed. So we're not seeing the follow through that we would like to see. A lot of times that ends up being a bearish move, but we'll see. Not always. could end up forming somewhat of a cup and handle here. You know, not the best cup and handle, a little bit of a sloppy cup and handle, but it could work. Let's try it again. But see all these big wicks we got right here on the 1 minute chart here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lots of big toppy wicks. That's usually a bearish sign. When I start seeing lots of big toppy wicks like that, I'm not as excited to go long. You don't want to be on the wrong side of that, because a lot of times that'll end up being bearish. It means that there's a lot of sellers up in there. It doesn't mean the stock won't go higher, because it could. It very well could. But it's just, you know, learning to read charts and learning to read all the scenarios. The more you look at them, the more you learn to kind of stay clear of danger. So when I see that, a lot of times then I'm looking to get out or not take a position, just because I don't want to be, you know, that's starting to look like there's a lot of sellers, and you don't want that to end up turning into a big drop. Like I would bet that this will end up dropping down, but we'll see. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Just as predicted, you know, not even a minute after I said that, you get the big drop down. So it's just you got to kind of learn to read those things. You start seeing those big topping wicks, a lot of times that means that you need to be getting out, because you could be looking at a big drop. Now that for this stock, that's not a huge drop. I mean, it's if you're in it for 1,000 shares, it's painful, because it's what, from 69 to 66, $3. So you could be down $3,000 if you're in that for 1,000 shares. But still, not a huge move for this stock. It could easily hold. Now we're looking at it to hold this previous high area right here and have that end up being support. If this can end up being support, then maybe we see it curl and keep going up. I don't like that it's under VWAP at the moment, though, and I don't like all these topping wicks. So ANVS not looking as good as I would like it to at the moment, but we will see. And it could be the market. Let's see what the market's doing. No, the market's not doing too bad. It's heading up now. 3 out of 4 stocks follow the market, in case you didn't know that. Maybe a little more than that, but roughly 75% of stocks follow the market. Probably closer to 80 would be my guess, but they say 3 out of 4 stocks follow the market. So SPY is the S&P 500 ETF. It's a pretty good indicator of the overall market a lot of the time, so I watch that a lot. If I see lots of stocks dropping, a lot of times I know that it's because of the overall market dropping. Now we're seeing the bigger move down on ANVS. So yeah, just when you see stuff like this on your charts, if you're watching this and you're new to trading, and you start seeing all these topping tails, as people call them, or the big top wicks on the candles, especially on more than one time frame, a lot of times that's a good indication that the stock is about to drop. And the same thing on the bottom. If you see tons of big long wicks on the bottom, it's a good indication that people are, you know, buying up all the drops, and it's probably going to go higher. So you start noticing those things and learning to read the chart, you'll be a better trader. SCPS got stopped again. Does it have any volume now? No. What in the heck? How can it have the same volume? This thing is nutty. Look at that thing. Look at that on the 1 minute time frame. It jumps from the 5 area up to mid 6s, gets halted, opens up, ends up going all the way, you know, not too far from 8, and then dropping all the way back down to 622. This thing is nutty. And that's with basically no volume, according to that. That makes me wonder if E-Trade's thing is right or not, because that seems kind of crazy. I'm gonna type that in over here and see what it looks like on my other thing, what the volume looks like. Yeah, they got 71,000 shares on that, so yeah, I'd say that's a little more likely 22 was what it was before, but then it looks like it traded another 50,000 shares. But it's really crazy that less than 100,000 shares is making these moves on this stock. That is nuts. Imagine if some actual volume came in. Maybe that thing would really fly. If it keeps hitting the scanners for halts, maybe we'll see that happen. Pretty bizarre. Okay, let's see. Man, I wish I'd have held that short on SPCE. Live and learn. I talked about support being around 23.88, and as we can see, that's pretty much where it's finding its little support at the moment. But man, that would have been I should have held that short. I think I ended up covering right around here, so I would have had to hold through some pain to get to that. And I should have been, honestly, I should have been watching it open instead of blabbing on YouTube and doing this. I would have been shorting this at open if I saw that it started, bearishly right out of the gate after failing to really curl. That would have been a good spot to go short, and then you know what your risk is, and because you got your highs right here. So that's the good thing about shorting a lot of the time to me is you kind of have a well-defined risk on shorting a lot of the time, because if you short into one of these little pops, you kind of know that, hey, if it breaks past that, I just need to cover and get out of the way. To me anyway, a lot of the times you can find better, well-defined places to put your stops on some shorts. Imagine if you're going long, then you're going to be looking at this area, but there's no guarantee that holds. It could end up coming all the way back down here to 21 or 22. So a little bit less defined on the long side, but on the short side would have been a better, safer call, and that's what I should have been doing. If I wasn't blabbing on YouTube, I'd already traded this and made 100 on it. I would have took another 250 shares short out of the gate when it started dropping there, and then I would have just covered if it broke past this previous little high right here. Oh well, that's how it is. It's kind of a slow day trading, and that's how it is when you're on YouTube and you're streaming and you're doing this kind of stuff, and you're not the best trader in the world like Ross is with Warrior Trading. If you're just a normal guy like me, it gets pretty hard to talk and trade and keep up with all the moves and everything that's going on, and you end up missing a lot of stuff. But that's why I kind of decided to do it today on a slower day. I'll check out LBLN. Thanks for the likes, by the way. Got a couple more likes. Awesome. LBLN, yes. There we go. It's not looking too bad. Possibly flagging here. That would be good. Again, on the like I talked about on the other stock, on the 5-minute chart, we're seeing some pretty long wicks. Not ideal. And if you look at the 1-minute chart, we got some pretty big drops there. Not really big money wise, but just as far as the chart goes, you kind of like to see it hold up a little bit better. But some stocks are this way. I've seen stocks that are, for every rule there's always an exception to the rule, and I've definitely seen stocks where they look like, hey, they're giving back all their gains, and then next thing you know, they're breaking out and flying. So you never really know. But at first glance, I wish it didn't, give back its gains all the way back down to VWAP a couple different times when it hit that area. Doesn't mean it won't go, though. It's looking a little better on the 5-minute because we're kind of getting that curl and that movement. So when you get those big big wicks though, you got to be careful trading, buying in this area when you know that it's been rejected there. And if we look at the daily chart, it could be because, like I was saying, around that $4 range, we've got that here, we've got it here, we've got it over here. So could end up being resistance at the $4 range. That's why I'm not going to take a trade on that one currently. On the daily chart though, if you zoom out a little bit, could end up being a decent swing. I'm not very good at swing trading, honestly. I'm better at scalping. But if I was looking at this from a swing perspective, a little bit better, because it's kind of put its bottom in, it's starting to curl up, so maybe it consolidates in here or gets a move past 4 and then ends up being a decent swing. Maybe even get a couple bucks out of it. It's one of those stocks that pops on the radar a lot. OBLN, I've seen that on scanners quite a bit over the years. At least I think I have anyway. Seems like I've seen it a lot. Yeah. Okay. This thing was way down here under $1, so that's why I remember it, because it was under $1 and then big pop and fade, huge move all the way. That's crazy. I mean, look at that crazy. That's why I remember it. That's a crazy move from under $2 all the way up here to 11. Crazy. So yeah, now we're seeing it possibly making that, hopefully it'll make another crazy move back up. It just becomes a little bit more risky and not as attractive to me when we have this chart. But kind of had that chart here in a way, because it was fading down from, you had the big candle and then the smaller one kind of fading down, so you kind of had the same similar situation. So maybe it happens again. Cool. Let's see. I'm fascinated by this SCPS. This thing is insane. Look at the the level 2 flashing all over the place while this is halted. And look at the daily chart on it. Wow. I guess it hasn't been around all that long, but the level 2 just crazy, flashing $7, $11.80, $9, all over the place. Crazy. Imagine if this thing actually got some volume. I don't know how. It's just crazy that it's moving so much that it's getting halted like that on virtually no volume. What else we got? Anything else? Such a slow, kind of boring day. PLBC. What is that? No, that's not doing nothing. Sometimes this scanner, the downside. Sometimes on the scanner, I scratch my head. Oh, it's going to pick up also whenever things do, when stocks do splits and reverse splits and stuff, it's going to hit the scanners and think that it's up or down a huge amount when it's not really. So that's not this scanner. That's, all scanners have that issue. PLBC. I'm not really sure what the deal is with that though. Why that's hitting the scanner, other than it has no volume at all. So I guess because it was it moved on its 139 shares, it hit the scanner. I thought I had my scanner toggled to where it kind of weeded out stocks with no volume, but I'm seeing several in here, so I might have changed my settings because I was missing some stuff and I wanted to adjust it, and I may have to adjust it back. That SCPS or whatever, just did it move? No? Yes? No? What the heck? I thought it did. So SPCE ended up bouncing off that area I was talking about, so that's interesting. Interesting. Kind of looking around here. CPS, I don't understand why. On the chart watcher chart, it looks like that opened up, but yet it didn't. SCPS. Yeah, it moved on the, weird. On my chart over here, on my CMAG account, it is moving. See, this is the kind of shenanigans that sometimes I get with E-Trade, okay? It's not doing anything on E-Trade, but yet on CMAG, it's all the way jumped up to 974 and got halted again. So it's halted at 974 now, but yet on E-Trade, not seeing that. So maybe there is some shenanigans with that. OBLN, look at that. Look at it go. Broke that $4 area and flying. So that was a good call on that. Looking good. I played it a little scared on OBLN, and it would have ended up being a good trade. Could have been watching it, for the break of that $4 area that I was talking about, and sure enough, that would have been a good trade. Should have been watching that, on the 1 minute, especially. If you're watching that 1 minute and you see that high, and it's kind of consolidating there, it's staying above VWAP, holding that, curls up. And then whenever it's breaking out, it would have been a good trade, like right there around $4 as it breaks that resistance, especially up into the halt. Hopefully it comes out of the halt and flies. What is the float on that? The float is 10 million, it looks like, on OBLN, so pretty small float. So that could be one to watch. It's had some crazy moves in the past. Again, though, I don't love all the resistance, but I do like that it's 10 million float and that it has the ability to do that. I mean, that's a crazy move. 42 cents, basically 50 cents in a matter of a few minutes. That's nice on a $4 stock. Not bad at all. So I think it has room to really open up. If it starts getting up there and breaks the 480 range, $5 range, it could really, I don't know, that thing could fly. If it gets enough volume, enough eyes on it with a 10 million float and a history like it has of really going up big, it could fly. Is there any news on it? That's a big factor too. If I don't see any news on a stock and I can't find news anywhere, that makes me a little more nervous too, because if you're talking about buying a stock that's up big like that, definitely prefer there to be a catalyst that can keep it going. Otherwise, you'll see it drop back down. So hopefully there's some kind of catalyst getting that thing going. Is there a catalyst that anybody knows of, perhaps? Thanks for the likes, by the way. I got a few likes on here, a few viewers. I can't expect to have a lot because honestly I've been really neglecting my YouTube channel and not doing much with it. So YouTube doesn't like that. They scold you like a naughty little boy whenever you don't make videos for a while and don't go live for a while, and they don't like that. They won't show your videos to people or your live streams to people. So I got to get that going again and get back at it. Get my trading stuff back. I've been lazy with my YouTube channel. So I do very much appreciate those of you that have been in the chat and have been watching this and hitting the like button and all that. You are awesome. Let's see what we got here. Go to my SPCE. Yeah, I tried shorting SPCE again, which I did, and it worked. But just in my CMEG while I'm talking here, just for a very small position, made another $40. So cool. Up 145 now. OBLN, look at her go. Come on, baby. Keep going. Gonna get up to that 480-ish area. People are gonna see that though. That's people, if you wonder why patterns work, it's because people like us and every retailers and everybody are looking at the same thing. So if everybody's looking at these tops, then they end up being self-fulfilling prophecies sometimes. Sometimes, if enough people are buying it, it'll rip right through that. But if there's a lot of people watching it and thinking that could be the top of it, it'll end up hitting that and pulling back a bit. And then you gotta kind of see if it curls back and has the volume to really push through or not. But you don't want to be the guy buying it at 475 when there's possible resistance at 481. And that's why these charts can be problematic for day traders, is that you don't want to be, when there's several different spots that it could be hitting resistance, then it becomes a nerve-wracking. You got to kind of trade between those resistance spots, scalping it in between, because you don't want to be buying it right below the resistance and then end up underwater immediately. So if you were buying that up there at 480 and not realizing that there was possible 481 resistance, and we talked about this minutes ago, and if you look at it right here, where did it top out at? Pretty much exactly where we talked at, 480, but pretty close. Is it going to break that? Maybe. I hope so. I hope it keeps going. I'm not in it, but I just, I like whenever stocks are ripping and flying and get exciting. There we go. Pop through it. It does need at some point to pull back, because healthy pullbacks are good for stocks. As far as, when you want them to really rip and keep going, at some point they need somewhat of a pullback, even if it's a micro pullback. So this thing hasn't had much of one. It's looking like that 481 area is going to end up being, it did pop through it for a second, but again, it pretty much got rejected there. So it needs a little bit of a pullback. Maybe it'll hold. No, you don't want to see that. Dropping big all the way back down to that previous halt. It's not what I want to see. It doesn't mean that it's over, but it's not a good sign. The 5 minute, it looks a little better. The 1 minute, not as good, but the 5 minute, still looking somewhat healthy. And the 5-minute is, it looked pretty. If you look back on it now, it doesn't look so bad here. We kind of had that consolidation, that flag, and then that move up. So now we need to see it consolidate and hold up here in the same area, and then have another move up and possibly even open up more. See how we had smaller move here. These are all small candles, and then all of a sudden we get the bigger candles. It really opens up. That's what we want to see. Consolidate, and then hopefully see an even bigger ripping move where it opens up to the mid fives within a couple minutes. Hopefully. If it breaks down too much more, then we're going to be looking at more of a longer term curl scenario where, if it comes down here, then we're looking for it to hopefully hold VWAP and then see what happens at that point. Does it curl off of VWAP? It's going to take a little more time. As of right now, we're hoping that it on the 5-minute holds this kind of a flagging scenario here, this being your pole, and it just consolidates here and then rips up more, hopefully. The 1-minute chart doesn't look as good. 5-minute chart still somewhat intact. Comes down here and breaks below VWAP, then I'm getting pretty nervous on it, because then it's looking like it's either going to come back down or it's going to be a longer term curl scenario where we might be looking at an hour or two before it gets back there. If I was guessing, we'll see. And I'm kind of looking at my other screens at the same time, seeing what's popping up on my scanners and whatnot. Volume's kind of coming in on this, so this one might end up being the one to watch. We'll see. 11 million shares. Definitely, if you look at the 5-minute chart, we had big volume come in here, over 4 million shares on that 5-minute, and then over 2 million on this. Also another thing, now we're coming down more. Don't like that as much. Come on, baby, you need to hold up. And you could try a VWAP bounce at this point, but again, what makes me nervous is not having a catalyst that I see anyway. I don't see a readily available catalyst on any of my platforms at the moment. So if there is news on it, I'm not seeing it. That makes me more nervous. I'd have a hard time buying stocks unless it's for a real quick scalp. A lot of times I have difficulty buying stocks for like a bounce scenario unless there's a ton of volume or some kind of catalyst, because you won't get the bounce. You'll get more downside, which we may see right here. It's kind of the moment of truth hitting the VWAP area right now. Can it bounce here? Can it bounce? Can it stay alive? I hope so. Especially if anybody watching this is trading it. What else we got moving, guys? SCPS. That thing is halting constantly. Again, E-Trade. See, this is E-Trade sucks. What are you doing, E-Trade? It's not at 622. I don't know why it's doing that. These are the little glitchy things that I talk about with E-Trade Pro. I love the charting. I'm not gonna lie, it's my favorite platform for charting. I don't know why, but I love the charting. Maybe it's because I grew up on it. I've been using these charts for years now, and for whatever reason, any other charts I look at, CMEGs, Sterling Pros, or DOS Trader, or whatever it is, I don't like them as much. I like the charts on this. Probably the only reason I still use E-Trade, or one of the main reasons I still use E-Trade, is because A, it's a pain in the butt to switch brokers and move all your money around. Every time you do it, it's a pain in the butt. And B, I just love the charting. But there are glitches like this. Like, what the heck? That's not at 622. It's up here. So it shouldn't be showing that. It's annoying. I don't want to see your stupid glitch showing the stock down here at 622 when it's not. And that glitch, by the way, happens a lot. There's a lot of times where with eTrade Pro, the stock that you're looking at, it'll be showing something goofy like that. And until a print goes through, as soon as a print goes through right here, when it gets unhalted, or if you're watching one that's actually not halted, as soon as a print goes through, then the stock will be where it's supposed to be. But until that point, you'll see this goofy thing on the chart. It's annoying, especially when a stock is actually being traded and you see something like that when you switch between tickers and you see that and you got to wait for prints to go through. Yeah, makes no sense. Fix your stuff, E-Trade. Not cool. But anyway, we got a stock here that's absolutely nuts. So it's worth watching this because of the crazy movement. Let me see how much volume it's actually traded. I'll switch back while this is halted. I'll switch back to OBLN for a second. So we did hold VWAP for the moment. That's a good sign. Like to see that. But it's still not ideal. The chart's not ideal at this point. It just came down too much, especially on the 1 minute chart. It doesn't mean it's dead. I mean, it could fly. The 5 minute still looks somewhat intact. We don't like this big topping tail, this big wick. Not ideal, but it did hold VWAP. So the 5 minute chart doesn't look terrible yet. The 1 minute chart, not as good. 5 minute chart, a little better. Hopefully we see this thing break out past 462. That's where I start getting a little bit more interested in it again. People trade different time frames. I used to not use the 5 minute time frame until tons of people, especially new traders in the last year with the pandemic and all that, a lot of new traders came in that are using mobile apps and using their phones and stuff, and primarily going off of 5 minute charts. So everybody, once you trade, you realize that things work because of the amount of people that are looking at them. Indicators work because tons of people use it, like VWAP. You have to use VWAP, in my opinion, because everybody does. So stocks react to it because of how many people use it. Same thing with the time frames. If everybody's trading off a 5 minute time frame, you want to be at least looking at the 5 minute time frame. I used to focus mainly on the 1 minute and the daily, but then I realized, hey, there's so many people on the 5 minute, I need to be adapting and using that. Trading is so much about adapting to the current situation. What's up, guys? I see there's a few more new people joining in the stream here. What's up? What's up? What are you watching? Right now, the ones I'm mainly watching are OBLN, SPCE, ANVS. CLPS was looking good, but it ended up coming all the way back down, so that one not so much watching anymore. SCPS, this thing, E-Trade is stupid, so it's showing me some BS glitch. Man, look at that. Okay, we were just looking at this a few seconds ago, and in that time it unhalted and halted again. This thing is unbelievable. What you're seeing right here, if you're a new trader, you don't know what you're looking at, you haven't looked at charts a lot or whatever, these lines right here are when the stock is halted. So it unhalts, it halts right here, it unhalts, jumps up, immediately halts again. 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 So now we've got a stock that's up. If E-Trade wasn't glitching and being stupid, showing that big red candle that doesn't really exist here in real life, the stock is actually up there at 1330, and it started the day at what was it at? 574 was the open. So this stock has gone from 574 to 1330 Yeah, just in 45 minutes on basically no volume. That's crazy. We got this PCE, man. I'm glad I covered my short, but then now it would have been no, I'm good. I'm good. Glad I covered my short. It would have worked out great. Did work out great. Could have re-shorted it up there at VWAP. That would have been a good move. Let's see what we got here on SCPS for the real deal here. So this is what the chart should look like. This is CMEG. This is what it actually looks like. And of course with E-Trade, it's got this big red candle that doesn't really exist. So one of the annoying little glitchy things about E-Trade that happen. And let's see what we got here. That one you can't even trade really. I mean, it's got 1.9 or 1.2 million shares traded today. So it's got volume. Again, glitchy E-Trade shows it at 22,000 shares traded. It's actually traded 1.2 million shares on the day. Still, that's very light volume considering it's gone from 5 to 13 something. That's just a crazy move, especially on only a million shares of volume. So you can't really get in it. You can't trade a stock like that. And definitely I would advise against trading a stock like that when it's been halted several times, because there will be a time when this thing comes back down. I don't know if it'll go to 30, 40, 50 bucks. I mean, who knows? Here we go. Now we're unhalting here. See if I refresh that. Does that go away? Yeah, there we go. If I refresh my charts, then it goes away at the moment. That's good. Now we're seeing the real volume, 1.7 million. But at some point, this stock will come down. And like I said, who knows how high it goes? Maybe it goes to 20, 30, 40, who knows? But at some point, it will come down. So trading these halt stocks that get halted repeatedly can get very sketchy. You don't want to be the guy that's buying it and then it starts dropping and gets halted on the way down, and then it opens up, dollars down from where you bought it at. And that's a terrible feeling. Anybody that's traded for years has been caught on the wrong side of a halt. Not a good place. It's basically the worst place you can be. This does have good FDA, it's got FDA approval, so it's got a good catalyst. I want to buy it, but I'm resisting the urge. I'm resisting the FOMO to chase this, because even though it could go to 20, 30, 40 bucks, I don't want to be buying it and then be the guy that's stuck in it when it starts dropping and gets halted on the way down. So I'm just going to leave it alone. At some point, you'll get enough volume. Like right now, we've traded just in the last few minutes. It's jumped from 1.7 million shares to 2.7 million shares. So at some point, you'll get enough buyers and sellers that it'll balance out, and then it'll stop being halted every few minutes, and it'll start actually trading somewhat normally. But a lot of times you'll get a big drop before that happens. A lot of times you'll see a halt on the way down or a couple halts on the way down before it ever evens out and starts really trading like a normal stock and not halting constantly. It's got to get enough people on both sides of the trade to stop halting. But the volume's definitely coming in. We're getting almost to 3 million shares now. The volume's in there. Here we go on the 1 minute. We're getting a little bit of a pullback. Now, if it can pull back and then hold that and maybe start curling, it'd be a little bit less of a risky trade. But still, when you got this many halts and it's gone from $5 to almost, actually it did go over 15, so up 10 bucks a share. That's pretty crazy. You got to be careful trading that. And here comes the drop. At some point it will. I almost guarantee it will drop and get halted on the way down, and it may have just happened right there. Not sure if it halted right there or not. it's looking like, I mean, there's prints still going through, but I would say it's halted. Yeah, looks like we're halted. So there you go. Just like I just was mentioning a few minutes ago, now we're halted on the way down. The problem with that is, if you were buying that, if you were chasing that, like I said, I was tempted to chase it up there because it has a good catalyst and a very low float and it's flying up. But with these halts, very scary scenarios, because eventually, like I said, they will come down and you'll get stuck in a halt on the way down. That can be a bad scenario because it can end up, unhalting down here at $10 or $11, or I've seen them stay halted and then open up way down here, and you don't want to be down several dollars a share on a stock when it unhalts. Usually, if it unhalts way down here, opens back up, typically you'll see a bounce. But again, that's just a very scary scenario to be in. So my advice, when you see a stock that's been halted over and over and over and over again, don't trade it unless it gets to a point where it's trading like a normal stock and the volume's on both sides of the move and it's kind of curling and stuff, then maybe. But as of right now, I would not be trading it and rolling the dice on getting caught on the wrong side of that halt. No thanks. Okay, I'm gonna have to get off of here before too long. My kiddos do school here at home at the moment, so I'm gonna have to go line them out before long. Let's see if there's anything going on here in my telephone. I had some stuff going on this morning. Okay. Yeah, it's not really that much of an exciting day anyway, so won't be missing that much if we get off here. Thanks for the like, by the way. I got another like. Appreciate that. Appreciate all you guys who have watched this and chatted with me in here and liked this stream. Truly appreciate it. Trying to get the YouTube thing going again. I've been slacking off, so YouTube's punishing me and not showing my videos and streams to anybody, and I understand that. So the likes and things, I appreciate that, and chatting in there, that helps you show YouTube that, hey, this dude is worth watching every now and then. What do we got on OBLN? So yeah, as feared, came all the way back down here, gave back all its gain. And the problem with that, like I said, most likely this is because there's not a catalyst. There could be, and I just don't know about it. But if there's no fresh catalyst today, you'll see that happen a lot, where it flies up, but then it can't hold it because there's not a reason that it's up other than the fact that it's just squeezing and people are jumping on it and it's getting some volume. But then at some point, people jump off because there's not a reason. Definitely want to see a catalyst to see a really strong move. Oh, look at this thing. ANVS down now all the way. It touched 70, down all the way to 57. This one would have been a nice short, but no shares available at my brokers. It would have been hard to predict where it was going to get rejected at too, but so it kind of got where it ultimately topped out, kind of where these previous tops were here and right here. These two little areas of consolidation, but no real specific resistance area on that. So it would have been difficult to find the top to try to short that. Would have been better to short this bounce where it couldn't break VWAP, because if you're looking at this It would have looked a little bit like a little head and shoulders right there. And if it couldn't break VWAP and stay above, then that would be a good spot to short it right in there. Or if you're long and you're holding this and you see this scenario play out where it gives back all those gains back below VWAP and then goes up and touches VWAP, but it can't hold it, can't break it and hold it, that's your cue to get out of the way, because it's probably going to drop some more. Just food for thought. If you're in that scenario looking either to short into the VWAP, or if you're long, watch the way that the stock reacts to VWAP, because that can give a pretty good tell as to what's going to happen with it. We also had this area right here that could have been possible resistance at the same level. Right there, there's VWAP, there's that, there's this top right here, there's this top right here. So several indicators that could be an area of problem if you held it all the way back down after it gave back all those gains right there. That would have been your cue that, hey, it's probably not going to break past that, so just get out of the way. Good spot to short also. And if you're shorting it, then you can be looking to cover if it breaks VWAP and holds it, and start. You could risk off of these highs here, or you could risk just a tighter stop where if it breaks VWAP, which was probably around 65.50 or so. If it breaks that, by $1 roughly, then get out of the way. It could end up curling and going higher. Some possible trade ideas. I just got another halt alert on my scanner. I haven't clicked over there, but it's probably SCPS again. Yeah, it looks like it. It looks like it is. This thing is just nuts. Halted again. It's crazy. And again, E-Trade not showing the correct. See, that just frustrates me. Get it together, E-Trade. This is why I can't, in good faith, recommend E-Trade that much anymore, because it just seems like their platform has issues a lot. Like right now, the stock's not at 1292 like this says. If you look at another chart, like my CMEG chart, it's at 1410. So the halt's actually, up a lot, and ended up coming out of the halt and bouncing significantly. This would be the 1 minute. So and it ended up coming out of that and then bouncing quite a bit back up over 14. So now it's getting a little bit interesting, because it made that huge move, pulled back, and then whenever it kind of somewhat held VWAP, it didn't. I mean, it came below, but it bounced back up and made a new high before getting halted. So it's getting a little more interesting now. Can it keep going? It's possible. Definitely one to watch. So anyway, I'm going to get off of here because there's not a whole lot going on. Not very many people in the old chat now. And the stock market's pretty dead at the moment. So thanks for watching. You guys are awesome. Check out some of my other videos. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. I appreciate it. Appreciate all the love. You guys are awesome. Peace out.